Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and legionnaires of all ages, welcome to the Wrestling Legion Weekly Podcast. I'm Nick the Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my two friends, compatriots, cohorts, and co-conspirators. I'm joined on my right by the blondest man in all of wrestling media, Joey Styles to my Tony Schiavone. We are joined by Sai. Sai, how the hell are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good. It's good to be here again for our weekly chat.
It always is. And we are joined from his palatial mansion in the Alps. We are joined by the Redeemer himself, Andy. How you doing, mate?
Fine, thank you.
Chilling like a Bond villain.
Yes. I didn't know you had a piano. It's quite impressive. It's very similar to my palatial mansion.
Yeah.
I'm sure they get sold me a timeshare. Right. Now, a little bit of a change of business this week. First off, I want to hand things over to the blondest man in all of wrestling media because he has something to announce.
Yeah, this is more. I mean, we've done announcements in the past and we've done giveaways in the past to great success. This is more of a personal thing this week. It's our comrade's birthday tomorrow.
It is indeed.
Yeah, tomorrow. Now, if you don't mind me sharing, Andy, it's been 2 or 3 years now that we've been a group. We've had a lot of fun times, and I can't thank you enough for the memories that we've created and the ride that we've been on. You've been an absolute rock, buddy, and I know that you haven't had the best of times recently. I know you've not been feeling great. You've had a lot of shit happen. And I also know that a while back you'd been saving up for something, and then life happened, and you didn't get to get what you really wanted. So it's kind of a tease because you kind of can't have it today. But on behalf of Wrestling Legion, I am presenting you with this heavy bastard.
Awesome.
Which I'm going to air guitar right now because it's so cool. And on Saturday,
Congratulations, Andy.
On Saturday,
the champion.
This beauty,
thanks, lads.
Which hasn't even been opened yet, is yours.
Oh, thanks, man.
Congratulations, Andy. You are the first Wrestling Legion heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, yeah.
A title which you will be putting on the line in our Elimination Chamber predictions later on. So you may be the inaugural champ and you get to keep the belt, but you don't necessarily get to keep the championship.
I will get to keep the championship if we fight for it.
No, we're not actually going to fight for it, former MMA professional.
I think
soldier who was trained to kill people.
Mate, do you know what that means? That much you will have to try and claw it from my dead hands.
I honestly think it would look amazing just above your fireplace there on the bricks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
He's
thanks,
right.
guys. I love you. Love you, man.
Hey, don't thank me, dude. This is all.
Yeah, love you, Si.
Right. On to business. Happy birthday, big man. Oh, he's fallen off.
Yeah,
He's gone.
I'll be back in a minute.
No worries. Right. On to business. Everybody's seen the title of the video. This is also mainly thanks to this man over here. We were having a chat while we were watching SmackDown last week, and Bron Breakker signed his SmackDown contract for the main roster. And Simon asked the very poignant question, who's really arsed? And we're going to talk about that right now.
I think it was Andy. And I think I said, oh, that would be a great title for next week's show.
Correct. Sorry, got myself mixed up.
So, Andy, why did you say what you said? Why did you ask the question, who's arsed?
Because they're trying to make a big deal about Bron Breakker's signing. And for me, it's kind of like, who's asked, or if you're American, who's asked. But it's like, why should we be bothered? It's kind of like, to me, Bron Breakker is just a crap version of Brock Lesnar. And also, the fact that he goes on about the fact, like, I'm Bron Breakker, I'm not a Steiner, but he wolfs like his dad and he does all the rest. It's like, bore off, mate. He's not very good in the ring. He's not a great promo. He's not,
Bron Breakker is
he's
missing one of the most important things that a professional wrestler needs. One, charisma, but two, timing. He doesn't have any. You watch him in the ring, he hits all of his stuff early, he moves too fast. He's off balance a lot of the time. Most of the stuff he does looks dangerous. Whether that's intentional or not, if it is, congratulations to Mr. Breakker. But if it's not a good thing. I don't think Bron Breakker is the big deal that the whole world seems to think that he is just because he's Rick Steiner's kid. Talent is not sexually transmitted, unfortunately.
no.
And yeah, I think he'll be a solid mid-carder, guys. But do any of us honestly see him carrying the company?
No, I think the problem with Bron is I don't hate him, but I don't like him. I just don't care, and that's a big problem in wrestling.
Yep. Sorry? You look like you're thinking about something.
So, I get what you guys are saying, and I'm not the biggest Bron fan in the world, but I think you've got to look back a year, maybe 18 months ago, and surely we can all see the improvement.
Oh, no, admittedly, he has vastly improved.
Even most of the NXT faithful didn't quite, think he was all that a year ago, whereas now he's one of the most over guys on that roster. Whether it's a mistake bringing him up while he's tag champion, whether you should have brought the Wolf Dogs up together, I don't know. But I like what they're doing, building intrigue. I'm hoping we get to see him debut soon. Like you say, I think he's a solid mid-card guy. I think he could get the IC or the US belt. And I think it's interesting to see what Brandy lands on because, which one of those champs is he going to go after? And I think that's why... at the minute, yeah. But which one is he going to win?
But that's the thing is he actually going to win one? That's the question because like Grayson Waller was really good on NXT since he's come up. He's done all right, but he hasn't really won it.
He's a talk show host.
Really. Yeah, he's got his talk show and he's done bits and bobs, and it's kind of like, LA Knight, realistically for me, is the US champion's next kind of move. If they were going to do the whole signing for SmackDown with Bron, which he has done, if they were going for Gunther, they would have went that way, but they haven't. And it's kind of like, well, where does he fit in at the moment? And I don't think he really fits in anywhere. I think he'll just be having matches at the moment. I don't see him doing any major program in the next 6 months because if Knight beats Logan Paul at WrestleMania, then that's Knight with the title for quite a while before he makes the step up. And then it's kind of like, then you've probably got to go for the heel before you get to Bron Breakker. So he could be looking at 12 months before he gets near the title.
Well, honestly, I think that as he's NXT Tag Team Champions and the Tag Team Champions spend most of their time on Raw these days, that him and Corbin might actually end up defending the belts a few times on SmackDown because then it's good for the show because it's good advertising. There's going to be a tag team title match. And it gets Corbin back on the main roster.
I've just had a thought. His first title will be the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that makes sense because him and Corbin won it, so they can fall out over that because their egos are both massive. Right. Now, I'm going to be honest with the people for a minute. The three of us just didn't prepare anything for tonight's show other than this topic. Right? No, I've got to be honest with the people. Right? I'm honest with the people.
Kayfabe, dude. Kayfabe.
Can we just say hi, Russ, and also hi to King?
Hello, guys. Sorry, that's me not paying attention to the comment section like I'm supposed to. I don't know why I always pay attention to the comments. I'm the blind one, yet I'm the guy who has to read the comments.
Go back to Bron Breakker. Jimbo says he's welcome like Goldberg in WCW, but as a heel. would be the best thing for him, I think. Probably would be, mate, but no one wants to see that. No one likes Gorg.
Weirdly, I think Braun is more like Goldberg than he is Rick Steiner, the way he wrestles.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, he comes
Even
from
does spear the same way.
He does come from a massive NFL background as well, the same as Goldberg, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is the thing about Braun. He's got all the potential in the world. He's just got no goddamn timing. And and that's in his promos, in ring work. He's got no timing.
Could he be another Billy Gunn?
Elaborate.
So Billy Gunn always done great in a tag team, but every time they tried to give him a singles push, it just never worked out for him.
Wow,
that's a good analogy.
You weren't an ass man?
I know I liked it, but obviously they didn't. Do you know what I mean?
You like the ass man, yeah?
No, I like the badass one. And I like Rockabilly was awesome.
Rockabilly was great. Yeah.
But no, to be honest, the one Billy Gunn was good. Billy and Chuck was the best.
That's true, Jimmy.
It's just, again, though, if you look at Billy Gunn, his best work come in tag teams, and obviously every time WWE took him out of a tag team, tried to dabble with him, smoking guns to Rockabilly to Badass Billy Gunn, Badass to Mr. Ass, and then back into Chuck and Billy. It just never seemed to work out for him in that singles.
You missed the one.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You get the process, Nick.
Oh, I'm just being pedantic.
But it's just like, do you get what I mean? It's just like, for whatever reason, he never seemed to settle as a single star, and it's like, does that happen with Bron Breakker? Could that happen with Bron Breakker?
Well, I mean, it happened with Rick, really. Yeah, he had a couple of singles runs and a run against Goldberg, and I think he had the US belt. But primarily, even before Scott was around, he was in the Varsity Club, wasn't he? So
yes,
he's kind of always been a tag guy. So yeah.
That's it. And hopefully in the next year or so, Triple H makes the tag team division mean something again, because I feel like that's one thing that we're missing from modern day wrestling is a good tag division.
Well, could we?
Well, we know Triple H loves tag team wrestling, and I kind of viewed it as he's had a phased plan with the company, and his first phase was the mid card, specifically the IC and the US title scenes, and he's done a wonderful job. He's done a wonderful job with the mid card, so I'm predicting that he's going to move on to the tag team division next, because he's doing a much right. What?
You said you're predicting.
Predicting.
Sorry, I couldn't let that go.
I'm sure you said you were predicting.
That's what he said, I know.
Yeah.
He did.
Would you care to explain?
Slip of the tongue. But I'm assuming that he's going to go for the tag division next. It makes sense. Triple H loves tag team wrestling. He just needs... I mean, let's be honest. The women's tag team titles are still in a bit of a state, but compare them to where they were 2 years ago. Now,
I think
the teams in the division...
I mean, I don't know whether it's just me or not, but the first thing for me is like, they need to get rid of them penny belts and actually make belts that look worth winning. I agree. Not trying to be horrible at that, but that's the first thing I'd be doing.
Well, I am. Go on, sir.
Do you mean like this one?
That was the belt that saved wrestling. I'll have you know.
Because The Rock created it.
I've not opened it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Because it got rid of the stupid spinner belt and actually brought credibility back to the wrestling world. And just to let you know,
I hate the spinner title.
I like the spinner.
Do you know what's a scary thing as well? Did you know that belt was unveiled 11 years today?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
To this day.
Right.
To this actual day, my guys.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's great.
I wonder if the delivery guy knew that this morning.
I doubt it somehow, Simon. No. Right, but let's talk about championships for a couple of minutes. I am of the opinion that they need to, if they're only going to have one team hold both sets of tag titles, just get one new set of belts. Like, there's no point having, as Andy calls them, the two sets of penny belts with the stupid blue and red straps. Just have a decent looking one title that represents the whole division, because the division is never going to be big enough to be on two shows. It's just, it's never going to be big enough to be on two shows again. No. And it's unnecessary to do so. The tag division can be represented fine by having one title that is on both programs. It makes it more enjoyable because you never know which show is going to have the titles at one time. Roman got his belt. Rhea got her belt. Seth got his new belt. But the tag division just got left. Don't you think by Mania it might be time?
I think when the belts get changed, it'll change. You know, I still think we're going to get an Awesome Truth win at Mania, maybe that night, or R-Truth comes out with new belts or something like that.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. As long as you don't look like the 24/7 title. You are aware, by the way, you just said the belts will change when the belts change.
I don't know if you caught it, Andy, but the look that Nick gave you when you gave him that 5-word answer to like a minute question was absolutely priceless. Yeah.
No, but I think the belts will change when the belts change. What I mean by that, I pretty much meant what I said, but it's like the belts will change in terms of the physical belts when they change hands. In terms of, I believe R-Truth, as Jim says there, when Miz and R-Truth win them and unveil a new title. So the belts will change when the titles change, if that makes sense.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I actually did mean what I said. I just probably didn't give the context around it that I should have done.
No, it's fine. On the other side of the fence, talking about championships, AEW has 14?
Yeah.
What, viewers?
Don't be cruel, Simon. They have a bigger audience than Impact. Come on.
Sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind in the right measure.
Right, but I am under the assumption that the pittance they gave Jay White, which you can all agree was just ludicrous, is the plan. I'm under the assumption that they're going to have Bullet Club turn on the Scissoring Boys, win the Trios Championships as well, and then merge the Ring of Honor and AEW Trios belts into one belt. And Tony will have another set of new belts.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping the Von Erichs are being built up for these belts. They picked up a couple of wins. You know, I think they're a good trio.
Also, with Iron Claw being out, they've never been more marketable in modern day.
Yep, timing's good.
Yeah.
Andy, what do you think?
And we all know that Tony likes to play with his toys, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Obviously,
especially when he gets new ones.
Yeah. But you know, he does like to play with his toys, and I think the Von Erichs are pretty hot at the moment, and Tony will probably go on about how he remembers them from years ago and blah blah blah. So yeah, I could see him doing it. I really could. Sadly,
they've got to do something with Jay, and Tony's already made the mistake of putting the title on Samoa Joe instead of Jay White. I love Joe, but we can all agree he shouldn't be nowhere near a World Heavyweight Championship at his age. And
should have been Adam Cole, baby.
Well, it would have been Adam Cole if it wasn't for his leg. But Jay White would have been a perfect replacement for Adam Cole. In the meantime, he's young, he's cocky, he's super talented. It's basically the Kiwi Adam Cole. So it would have been really good. But the trios belts, really? I love Austin and Colton Gunn. I think they're fantastic. They're thoroughly entertaining. They get it, if that makes sense. They understand their position and what they're supposed to do. But Jay White is so far above them that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have them going after the trios belts. I'm assuming it was supposed to be Juice, but Juice got injured. What would you have done, Si? have the book been in your hands?
Honestly, I can't answer that because you probably remember me saying before we introduced the trios titles that I was against it. I think less is more. I think fewer titles on the brand as a whole is better because it makes them more prestigious. It makes them more desirable. And to me, I remember saying that as soon as you introduce a trios division, if you put so many teams with an individual in that division, the first thing you're going to do is kill off your regular classic tag division. And he pretty much did. The last 12 months, the tag division in AEW, compare it to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's not great. So honestly, I wouldn't have brought those belts in to begin with.
Fair enough. No, I'm inclined to agree with you because AEW had the best tag division in the world 4 years ago. No one could touch it. Then they added FTR, and it got even better. Since they introduced those trios belts, they have FTR, and they have the Young Bucks, but most even Top Flight have been whacked in a trio with Action Andre. House of Black trio, because originally it was a tag team, but they're trios now.
I think the other thing as well that I don't like in AEW, I mean, obviously Ring of Honor has been an absolute car crash. I think it was this time last year, Si, when I was saying to you, I fully enjoyed it. I don't know whether you still do, but I was watching it week in, week out, and I was thinking this is okay, but it's just gone down and down and down. And one of the things for me that really annoys me is they have the AEW Trios title, they have the Ring of Honor Trios title, and they're getting defended on each other's shows. And I'm like, I can't really keep up with who's what because it's like, the other day I was saying to somebody, we were saying about the Trios, and I was like, oh, Brian Cage and stuff, and it was like, no, they're the Ring of Honor ones. I was like, yeah. And, and that's the thing, I'm kind of getting confused with everything. It's like, I just don't get where they're up to. It's just chaos.
Yep. Completely agree, Jim.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, to touch on it, I mean, I've had people say before, oh, you're just a WWE guy. You're saying it to detract from AEW. No. When I talk about what's happened with the trios belts and specifically Ring of Honor, I'm not doing it to bash AEW. I'm not doing it because I love WWE. I'm doing it because I've been a lifelong Ring of Honor fan. I went to Ring of Honor Live in 2008 in Liverpool and saw Bryan Danielson against Nigel McGuinness, front row. We went to Ring of Honor last year. I've supported that company for years and years. And to see it become what I was afraid it would become, which ultimately it has become, is really, really sad. To the point where, as a hardcore Ring of Honor fan, it's kind of heartbreaking. It's up there with what WWE did to ECW.
Exactly what I was going to say.
And do you know what? One thing that I said to myself at the time was, if they would have made it a developmental brand, I probably could have handled that. But the way they have done it is, as you say, right.
In the early days, the first few months, you knew when you were watching, like, not so much Dynamite, but Rampage, like every week, the losers of the match with the Ring of Honor talent. They were bringing them up just to have them lose time and time again. And if you keep doing that and you keep whack-a-moling these new stars, this new brand on the head, it's never going to get anywhere. There's people that can argue they've tried to keep it alive, but nah.
Pop quiz. Who holds the Ring of Honor World Championship?
Oh.
Isn't it Eddie Kingston?
Correct. An AEW contracted wrestler. Who holds the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships?
Oh.
There's still MJF and Michael Cole. Adam Cole.
Nope. It's the Kingdom.
Did they lose them? Oh, right.
They lost them to the Masked Men, the Devil, which turned out to be the Kingdom, to AEW contracted wrestlers. Who holds the Ring of Honor Trios Championships?
It's still Cage, isn't it?
Nope.
No, see, this is the thing. I don't even know anymore.
It's Jay White and the Guns. 3 AEW contracted wrestlers. Who holds the Ring of Honor Pure Championship?
It's not Dante, is it?
Nope. It's Wheeler Yuta, an AEW contracted wrestler. The only Ring of Honor World Championship that is held by a Ring of Honor contracted wrestler is Athena's women's title.
She still have that. She's crappy. Give it to Billy Starks.
All Billy Starks is kind of her protege in Ring of Honor. It's weird.
Give it to underrated talent.
Very. All of the other Ring of Honor championships are held by AEW contracted guys. The AEW World Championship doesn't really exist. Sorry, the Ring of Honor World Championship doesn't really exist anymore because it's been folded into the new Continental Classic Championship, the Triple Crown.
Yeah. Can I just argue as well, just to elaborate on Sai's point about the fact, like, you know, whether you love it or you don't, and you're a WWE guy and stuff like that. Like, probably a good thing is, like, we call it out as it is, whether it's good or it's not. You know, I'm an Evertonian, and football or soccer for you American dudes. Like, you know, I'm a big Evertonian, but will I stand here at the moment to say we are crap playing crap football? Yes. Does that mean that I'm not an Evertonian? No, I still am. But I'll call it for what it is. We are playing crap football, and it's not good to watch. And it's the same with me wrestling. AEW, I loved it when it first came out, and it was doing really well, and it was great. But they have dropped the ball massively. Same Ring of Honor. As I say, me and you, Si, were texting constantly last year because we were watching it on the lead up to going over there and stuff, and it was like, you know, it was really enjoyable. But then, you know, when you see all this other stuff, it's hard to take it serious when you see that.
Yes, Ross, it does. And that's the problem.
So there you go, Jimbo's just hit the nail on the head.
Oh.
I mean, that's a good statement right there.
Yeah, it is. And you guys know.
Go ahead, mate.
No, it's okay, go.
You know, the first few months of AEW, I didn't see the need for it. I was concerned it was going to put TNA, New Japan Strong, MLW, one of my faves at the time, even Ring of Honor, out of business. It was kind of like a stealth Vince McMahon taking over the indies, what TK was doing. And I really didn't see the need for that new promotion when there was already an abundance of different wrestling shows every week to watch. But as time went on, a couple of my friends here kind of twisted my arm into watching it weekly, and I started to enjoy it for what it was. It had potential. It had a good roster. It had a good build. It had momentum. It had the IWC behind it, which is probably one of the most important things it had. And I think year 2, year 3 were consistently good, particularly some of the pay-per-views. But then this past year, for whatever reason, I'm going to ask you guys this question. I feel like it's getting a lot of comparisons now to WCW 2000. And from my point of view, I see that as an insult to WCW 2000 because there was a lot of crap, but it was my crap. It was good crap. Now, the question is AEW struggling because the dirt sheets have kind of jumped ship? The IWC has changed its mind and it's lost its momentum of the fans behind it online? Or has it lost the fans online and the dirt sheet journalists because of how it's changed? What's the cause and effect here?
I think one of the things I'd love to answer this if you don't mind it. So I don't, when I'm looking at a business, especially a wrestling business, I don't look at the online divvies that talk stuff that well. I'm probably never even been to a show in their life. I look at attendances and I look at what they've done. I also look at like Arthur Ashe when they sold that out. They haven't managed to do that since. I'm telling you now, they will not get the same attendance at Wembley as what they did last year.
No.
Because a lot of fans, what you will get is, it's the same with any type of business that you think, if you don't open up a sweet shop site around the corner from your house tomorrow, in that first month and a half period, you'll get a lot of footfall because people will come in just because they're interested to see what's in there. Yeah, curiosity. Now, if you then have got the worst type of sweets, they will never come again. And, that curiosity, you won't hook them in. And that's what I believe's happened with AEW is they've done the Arthur Ashe Stadium. People went because it was kind of curiosity. Could they do it? What would would it be a different type of stage? Would it be a different setup? What would they do there? And then they didn't really do much. And the next year, nobody went there again. Same with the way that they're touring. They go to different places and people from that towns may go there out of curiosity to see what it's like, see what it's done, and then they won't go back again. Dale always says he went there, it was far too long. He never wanted to go back again because it was far too much of a long show. He was exhausted from it. And he just didn't like the way it was set up. I'll admit, when we went to All In, although the wrestling was really good, it was kind of like, it did just have the feel of a giant house show. It didn't have that kind of spectacular, we're a part of something great feeling.
Yeah, there was no gravitas to it.
Like we said
No,
before,
there wasn't.
The steak was good, but there was no sizzle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but then I asked myself, if we was watching that matches that were the good wrestling matches on telly, would it have been any different experience to actually being there? And the answer's no. The answer's no. I don't think that would have come through any different. Yeah, definitely. I think they're just like a non-binary wrestling promotion at the moment. I don't know what they are.
Exactly what I was about to say, Jim. I honestly think the problem with AEW, the God's honest truth, is they've got an identity crisis.
Yeah.
I think
when they first launched the company, give me a sec. When they first launched the company, they had an identity. They were the alternative to WWE. You got the indie-rific style presented on a grander stage.
But
now,
one thing I will say to
they're WWE light.
Yeah, but the other thing was, back in the early days, you had like the Elite and the Dark Order, and they were going back and forwards with each other, and then you had other bits. It was quite good episodic television as well, where, you had the Hangman Page story. As much as it felt like that went on for a lot longer than what it should have done, it was still a good story. They haven't done anything like that since. They haven't hit anything. The only one that was quite good was the Devil.
No, but that's my point. They've got an identity crisis. Yeah. Tony Khan doesn't know what the company's supposed to be anymore.
This identity crisis, right? I think comes down to one thing, and that is Tony Khan's indecision. Okay, he was essentially at a point where Collision was launched around CM Punk, and that was meant to be the entertainment brand to draw in new fans to make the company bigger. Dynamite was meant to be the you can call it hardcore, you can call it the faithful brand,
indie-rific, dude.
Yeah, which was there to keep the current fans happy. So he's kind of going to, have his cake and eat it, get the best of both worlds. But then Punk left, and then there's been other roster changes. And then somewhere along the way, he's been trying to go both ways and please both sets of people. But quite often, I think in life, if you do that, you'll end up disappointing both sets. And I think that's where he's at. It's like he can't decide which way to go. Does he keep the crowd he's got happy, or does he keep risking to get a different crowd, a better crowd, a bigger crowd?
Well, the fact is, no company can survive without growth. If you don't grow, you shrink, and eventually you die. AEW at the moment is not growing. The audience is getting smaller. The live attendance is getting smaller. And it's not knocking the roster. AEW has a stacked roster with some of the best talent in the world. They're just mishandled. Massively mishandled.
It's mishandled, and also, I think it was Simon said the other week, it's a swelled roster with not enough TV time as well.
Yeah, I think that's why you get so many multi-mans. And I think you lose out a lot of the big matches you could have. I mean, say what you want. The comparison was there with WCW. Say what you want about WCW having a 2-minute schmoz double DQ in the main event pretty much nearly every week. But at least we got that big match, even if it was just a teaser. Whereas some of the big matches that AEW could put on weekly television with the guys they've got on their roster, we don't get. You know,
No,
guys
and they don't do enough pay-per-views a year.
Get put in multi-man tag matches, and
plus they don't do enough pay-per-views a year to showcase those big talents in big matches.
Well, to be
they
fair,
do, but at the same,
they're pretty much doing one a month now.
Yeah, the annoying thing with can I just say with AEW pay-per-views as well is like I watch say WWE. I watch WWE and like I say they have like last night Drew McIntyre versus Cody, bit of a smosh finish. Drew McIntyre won, right?
Yeah.
But I look at that and I'll go, that's a solid TV match, yeah. But I know if them two wrestle again on a pay-per-view, you're gonna get a different type of match with a lot more effort and a lot more thing because it's like they'll give you a solid TV match, but they won't push too much too hard on it. Where I feel like AEW again never leave you wanting more. They give you everything straight away as well in terms of what they give you in a match. Like if you have MJF versus Bryan Danielson on Dynamite, you would get the same match on a pay-per-view because they don't do pay-per-view matches or TV matches or whatever. It's all just bump all or nothing.
Well, I disagree promptly with the comparison to WCW booking. I have done for a very long time because WCW booking back in the 90s was superb up until about November 1998 when it all started to go downhill.
That's why Simon said WCW 2000.
Yeah. No. I never did.
No, this was something I saw on X today, and someone was literally comparing last week's Dynamite, which was episode 230, or this week's, to episode 230 of Nitro. And yes, when you look at the cards on paper, there was a lot of 2-3 minute DQs. I'm not sure if it wasn't the episode that featured Brian Knobbs and Bam Bam Bigelow in a Falls Count Anywhere match that ended on a count out, which is notorious. You know, it's infamous. But the comparison was there. But I still remember enjoying that as a fan. You know, and WCW didn't just last through Nitro; it pretty much lasted 10 years, just over 11. And quite honestly, I don't see
WCW didn't just last 10 years in the wrestling business; it lasted 10 years in the wrestling business when it was more competitive, and when they were literally in a war with WWE. Yeah. They survived. They survived for 10 years against the biggest shark in the sea.
Can we just pull Russ's comments up here? So WCW was the same, really. In terms of AEW, never had a Rock Batista or John Cena. WCW didn't, to an extent. They tried to buy it in, and they might have hit the home run with Hogan, which, you know,
for a while they had Goldberg, and dude, they always had a Cena. They had Sting.
Sting was the original.
They just never used him right.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I feel like. AEW, that's the whole point, is AEW will never end up with a Cena. See, Sting, don't forget as well, what I'm saying with Sting is, mate, Sting come into WCW, he was never just made by them. Yeah. Same with Flair, same with Hogan and stuff like that, yeah. Where
well, he was never Sting till he got to WCW.
I'm talking about Bischoff's WCW and stuff. He was still had a career before WCW. But what I'm saying is, apart from Goldberg, realistically, yeah, they never really made any homegrown stars in WCW. They all come from Japan or wherever they. Okay, DDP. I'll give you that
Booker
one.
T, Scott Steiner. WCW made so many homegrown stars. You know, you can look way down the roster. Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn. Do you want me to go on? Raven. It's like literally everyone
hold my hands up.
came from there.
Yeah, okay.
Hang on a sec. Raven was an ECW guy first.
Scotty Flamingo was WCW first, dude. Thank you.
Can I just hold my hands up and say, do you know what? I've been really told there because he's 100% right. But can I just say, The Rock, Batista, John Cena, right? Them type of guys, AEW will never make anybody like that. And I'll tell you why. Because one, they don't have enough entertainment aspect of what they do. And probably the biggest one more than anything else is they don't give them stars any kind of chance.
Well,
And while you've still
I
got the Young
feel
Bucks and all the rest of them booking, that will never happen.
I think
I feel a large part of the problem is the fact that you have the monolith of WWE anyway, which is the biggest game in town. It's WrestleMania, the game for a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's like it's the goal. It's where you can make more money. You can be exposed to a bigger audience, and generally, it's the end goal for a lot of wrestlers. So you go to AEW for
Can I just ask very quickly as well? Who on earth do the Young Bucks think they are to place themselves in Sting's last match? Whether it's a gimmick or not, it just doesn't.
Don't even get me started.
It's like you are the benefit a youngster and give it, that age old, pull someone up on your way out the door. Or you maybe give a nostalgia pop with someone like the Hardys or, whatever else. But there's no way on this earth in any world or realm that I see what the benefit of having the Young Bucks in that match is.
Sting's final match should be only against one guy in AEW, and it's the dude who put his career on hold to get elevated by Sting for the last 3 years. It should be Darby Allin's match. Bullshit, Sting can't get through a singles match. He's been jumping off balconies in his 60s. I'm sure he can have a 5-minute match with Darby frickin' Allin, who will bump like a lunatic for him. Right? It won't be a good match, but it'll be a match. And it'll do what it's supposed to do, which is elevate the guy who you've been trying to elevate with Sting for the last 3 years. Instead, the young fucks have decided that they want to be Sting's last opponent. And instead of Sting putting them over and having a normal match, no. Now we want to win the tag team championships in that match as well. Because it'll solidify these new bullshit anti-CM Punk EVP characters that they decided to create when they were having a revamp as a team.
Down it. Right? Before we move on, very, very quickly, what was I going to say then? You've lost me to... Oh, yeah, just to give it a bit of a positive soon before we move on. What a guy Sting is, that even in his last month match, he still doesn't cause any problems or become a diva or not, and he's just the utmost professional, and he'll do what he's told to do. So, that's probably a bit of a positive.
When have you ever heard anything negative about Sting?
Never, and that's what I mean.
No, he's the best guy ever.
No one ever has a bad word to say about the guy, and that's pretty rare.
Thank you, Jimmy. Just to go against the point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's finish on that positive note of, once again, as he has through his whole career, Sting has not caused any waves or anything like that. So
because he's the best of all time.
Yeah.
Sting is amazing. Thank you very much. Right, now moving on to business, gents, because Andy has a newly won championship, and Simon and I both need to try and take it off him. We are moving on to our WWE Elimination Chamber in Perth predictions. Now, I'm super excited for the show because, one, there's only 4 matches in the Grayson Waller effect. It's going to be great. 2, it's at 10 p.m., gents. A normal time for us to watch a pay-per-view. 10 p.m. It's going to be amazing.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yeah.
I thought it was p.m. over here.
All right. 10 a.m., dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, are we watching it?
We're watching it at like 5, 6 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That works. Because I hate mornings, so no, it's agreeable. Right. But there are only 4 matches and the Grayson Waller effect. So let's get through. We'll go through each match as we do our predictions because we might as well say what we think about it. Right. In no particular order, I am going to start with New Catch Republic, as they are now called. Stupid name. British Strong Style was sat right there, and they went for this. Done then. But Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate challenging Damian Priest and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Andy, what do you think of this match? Who do you think is going to win?
So, I'm really conflicted with this one because I feel like the Judgment Day may retain, but I also feel like we may get the start of the Judgment Day fallout with Priest by them losing the titles here. But I'm going to go
However,
for Judgment. However, I'm going to go for the Judgment Day win because I see them losing to R-Truth and Miz at WrestleMania.
yeah. I also would like to point out the only reason I grew up in Australia, the only reason Pete done Talibata on this pay-per-view is because the Aussies need some Brits to boo.
Yeah.
That's why they're on the show. They want some English people for the Australians to boo. Because of Rhea, Judgment Day are going to be super over. Like, super over in Australia. So they need British people to make sure that the Aussies boo them.
Yeah, they've got to come out to God Save the Queen just to make it even worse.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Right, Simon, what do you think of the match? Who do you think is going to win?
I was kind of gutted that we didn't get DIY challenging because I was looking forward to that. British Strong Style. Oh, sorry, what are they called now?
The New Catch Republic.
The Squid Catch Kings. What? Say again?
New Catch Republic.
The new Snatch Republic.
I don't trust you.
No.
Every week.
new Pineapple Coke. Yeah, whatever they're called now. Yeah, Pete Dunne is back to being Pete Dunne. Personally, I like Butch. He was like a scrappy dude. He was entertaining. They're a good team. They've teamed together before. Why not acknowledge that past? Why not call them Mustache Mountain or British Strong Style? Because Pete was with that group for a long time before he turned on them. I'm with Andy. I straight up want the Miz and R-Truth to win those belts at Mania. I think out of all the comebacks we had in January with Miz, Randy Orton, CM Punk, R-Truth is the one that's still super over and on TV regularly. And I think they deserve that big win at Mania. And that's why I want Judgment Day to win, and I think they will.
Well, nice one. I think the match is going to be a banger.
Yeah, match will be good.
I really do, because Pete's fantastic, Tyler's fantastic. Both very comfortable working in Australia. They did it for years on the Indies. Finn's Finn and Damian Priest is Damian Priest. They're going to have a banger, regardless. It'll be a great match. But I do agree with you guys. I think it's Miz and R-Truth's time to win those belts at Mania. I think that's what they're leading and building to. So I figured that they're going to walk over the boys after they have a bit of a decent showing. So I'm going to go with Judgment Day as well. I will say that at least it's a new old team in the division now with Pete and Tyler. Like you said, they've got history. They've teamed together for years in the Indies. And it's nice to see them as a new team on the main roster, because maybe it's the first step towards what we were talking about before with Triple H revitalizing the tag team division.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. You know, you've got 12 or 13 teams. We've had a lot of four-ways, gauntlets, a lot of feuds and stuff. Teams like Pretty Deadly, really good team. You know, DIY, Alpha Academy. There are a lot of good teams on the roster at the minute.
Well, you mentioned Pretty Deadly.
One thing that happens as well is the tag team championship did main event WrestleMania Night 1 last year as well for the first time. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. One thing, honestly, though, I kind of want Pete and Tyler to win and then Pretty Deadly take the belts off them, because that would be an all-English fight. That would be an all-English World Tag Team Championship match. So they've never had, which I think would be really cool. But anyway, moving on to the second match, we are going with the Women's Elimination Chamber. This is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Naomi for a shot at Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Andy, who have you got?
Nia Jax.
Or Nia Jax, sorry.
Yeah.
Andy, who have you got and why?
So, I've had two theories with this one. I'll keep it quick. I know we want to keep it under the hour mark. The Becky Lynch wins it because that's what we all expect to happen. Or we get Becky in the Charlotte thing where she just gets inserted into it, and Nia Jax wins it, and we get a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Okay. So who are you picking?
Becky, I'll go for. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nia won it.
All right. No, that makes sense. Si, who you got and why?
I think either way, I think it's intriguing that if Becky were to win this, because I think there's matches planned out for some of the other girls in there. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. Like I think Jade Bianca's got a good ring to it. I tend to think Becky has a good match at Mania, either with Nia, who she's got history with. She lost her last match to her, and there's been a broken nose in the past. Or Becky Rhea is probably the biggest match they've got on the brand for the women at the minute. So either way, Becky's winning this. It's kind of really going to surprise me if she doesn't.
Yeah, not really a lot to say, except it's going to be a really good match. I think Tiffany Stratton's going to do a moonsault off one of the pods and then kill somebody. It's generally a 2-star match in Bianca and Becky. They're the two biggest stars in the thing. Like they're in the division, they're way above pecking order and everybody else. Our friend Jimmy, the Drip King, has a different theory. He thinks Liv Morgan's going to win. He thinks Liv Morgan is going to win, and then he thinks Dominic Mysterio is going to turn on Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, side with Liv Morgan, become Pappy, which is going to lead to Dom versus Rhea at Backlash.
Can we make this happen? Can we make this? I want to see this play out. Okay? Let's make this happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you, Si, because I figured you'd like that one. I think it's a phenomenal story push. However, I don't think it's happening. I'm going with Becky. They've been building to this for the past 6 months. The stare downs, the face-offs backstage, the silent looks at each other, and then, well, look what they did on the WrestleMania kickoff show. Who came out to interrupt Rhea Ripley? It was Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep that red hot heat on Dom, that's one way to do it, because Rhea is starting to become the star at the other end, isn't she? So I think we do need to get them away from each other.
He's right. Stealing Dom is the ultimate revenge.
I also like the other little twist to this where, it's kind of a cliche in wrestling now that the one who stands tall, particularly in like multi-man, multi-women matches on the go-home show, is not going to win on the actual go-home show. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Triple H knows that, and I think the reason he had Nia flatten absolutely every one of them on Raw was because she's going over. She's getting the super beast push that she should always have had, because this run she's on has been great. Dominant.
Yeah, and I don't forget Cousin Dwayne's there though, so
anyway, we're not on to that match yet, gents.
I don't think it's anything to do with that, man. It's she's being safe now, she's getting the push. She should always been pushed as a monster. She's like the Bam Bam of the women's division.
Yeah.
Well, I will get to Rhea versus Nia in a minute. But next, it is the men's Elimination Chamber. It is Bobby Lashley versus Logan Paul, versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight. Yeah. All right. Si, who you got and why?
I think you're going to see several feuds start in this match, so I'm going to eliminate people as the feuds that I see are going to play out. I think LA Knight is going to be in a little, I don't know if you put him against Orton, but, maybe Logan Paul. So he's kind of scratched off. A lot of the other guys are. Honestly, it has to be Drew. It has to be Drew. After he beat Cody, what else is there for him to do? I'm not saying he's going to win the belt in Mania with Seth being injured, because we could have a cash-in. Or if he does, he might not hold it long. How about you give the belt to Drew, and then Priest cashes in, and that just adds to Drew's angry character?
Well, I think they're saving the cash-in for Puerto Rico.
That makes sense as well.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Are they going back to Puerto Rico this year?
Yes, they are. Not long after Backlash. Jimmy told me about it the other day.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're going to save Priest's cash in for Puerto Rico. It makes the most sense. It'll get an absolutely huge pop. He'll never get a more over victory as a cash in than he would in Puerto Rico. Like, He just won't. So who have you got, Simon? Drew?
Drew. I'm picking Drew.
Right.
Yeah.
Andy, who have you got and why?
CM Punk, and nothing else needs to be said.
Nice. Well, we're all in. This is going to be annoying because we're going to end up with a tie for the championship at this rate. Because I am also picking Drew McIntyre. Because I'm going to have to add a couple of wrinkles into this. Right. Okay. For 2 extra points. Who starts the chamber for the men, and who finishes the chamber for the men? First 2, last 2. Andy?
I think. Let me think. LA Knight starts getting a good showing. Him and Logan Paul. I'm going to say.
Okay, LA Knight and Logan Paul. I am going to go with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens because I think they're going to carry on that bit of a feud they've been having by starting the chamber. Simon, who's going to start the chamber?
I'm going to go with Logan Paul as well. One of you guys is probably right. I'll pick somebody else just to be different. Let's say Logan and Drew. That would be interesting.
Okay. Right. And who are the last 2 people in the ring? Or, more appropriately, who is Drew McIntyre pinning?
LA Knight.
Randy Orton.
Ooh.
I thought I was going to pick Randy.
You still can, dude.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Bobby Lashley.
Ooh.
Right. Okay. Right. And moving on, that at least one of us will actually win the title this way.
Hooray.
And moving on to the final match, what I am assuming is going to be the main event. Right. Well, I'm assuming it's going to be the main event. I'm assuming Rhea versus Nia are going to be the show. I'll go first. This is Rhea's Hogan Andre moment. She's going to body slam her, slurry, hit her with the Riptide, and then win. Nia's going to have a tremendous push. She's going to have a tremendous match against Rhea, but this is Rhea's Hulk Hogan moment. She's in her home country. She's never been more over on the roster. Rhea Ripley's winning. Andy?
Yeah, I think they win here. I mean, the only way I can see her losing is if they want to do the whole Dom thing and do it in front of the crowd, which they could do. They could do it, you know, at the end of the day, with Dom, it's all about the maximum heat, isn't it? So you could do it at that point. But I don't know. I think it's a bit too soon at the moment. So I see a Rhea retain.
Okay. Right. Rhea retains. Simon?
Yeah. Vince McMahon is not in WWE anymore. This isn't SummerSlam 92, and he's not going to get the Bulldog to lose in Wembley Stadium. So Rhea's winning, or let me say she's keeping the belt. I'd like to think maybe there's something that does turn that into a triple threat with Nia and Becky for Mania. But Rhea's keeping the belt. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was our predictions for WWE Elimination Chamber 2024. That's the show. I've been Nick the Geek. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you all. That's been Simon. That's been Andy. And always remember, we are just 3 geeks obsessed with a good show. And our opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. See you next week.
Wrestling Legion. We make it make sense.